Well, hello, hello. I'm Mayor Watt, and welcome to ohmTown on Twitch. Maybe. Wow, that was slow loading. Hello, I'm Mayor Watt. I'm the mayor of ohmTown. ohmTown is actually ohmTown.com. And just to get going real quick, let me go back to the front page. What you see next to me, it's that way. Always, it's that way. Is ohmTown.com. I'm actually on page 5. I decided to filter through some of the news. There's a bunch of news. Every time you click on that homepage, it's probably going to have something new. I don't know about interesting. That'll be up to you. But all of the news gets filtered into these 6 categories. I say kind of this the same way at the beginning of each of my shows. Today is January 19th, 2022. And here's a little bit of news. There's a whole bunch of other stuff going on. And this is just a tidbit of it. Obviously, you should go over to ohmTown.com and filter through some of the news. Become a citizen by signing up. And be great if you ask questions in chat. Come back tomorrow if you stumble across this VOD at a later date. I'm here from 6 until 7. I'm not loud and bombastic. I might be loud. My mic is set up to be pretty loud right now. I'm not a scream. I'm not, I don't know. I'm a little more chill than a lot of people that might be on presenting news. Just kind of interested in hanging out and talking shop about various things, primarily these 6 categories. Create is pretty much about makers, writers, 3D printing, reality hackers about photo manipulation, gaming, tabletop gaming in particular. But these are more focused on creating environments or writing, whereas news is what you would think this show is. The daily news show will evolve from what this show is. This is just an hour long show and kind of unfocused. I just kind of grab a bunch of links that I think are interesting. But news talks about a bunch of different things. Hatch Ideas is actually the name of my company. Education is just somewhat close to teaching about certain things, right? Or talking shop about certain things where it's more, has an educational bent to it. You might want to know what semiotic ontology is. Well, you can either look it up and come back tomorrow, or you can ask it in chat tomorrow or today if you're here. And that would be great. And I can talk to you about it. It's really up to you if you're hanging out. But there's a lot of things in here that are groups. And when you sign up at ohmTown.com and become a citizen, you can join any of these groups or none of them or all of them. It's really up to you there too. And I cover a lot of material, and my goal is to have 50 shows a week with or without co-hosts. So somebody else can host and give me an hour break, or I can co-host along with them just to get some banter going built in. But I don't advertise anywhere except here. I'm not running around trying to get viewers. That's really how I'm doing things right now, just letting it organically unfold and see what happens. That said, there's entertainment, which primarily is drinks right now. I will eventually create a show that's food related, diet related, perhaps. There's quite a few things that are tech and society and food related, but I haven't quite found a good enough alignment. Let me do something real quick if you don't mind. Okay. See, I have music playing in the background a little bit. And if I do it right, it's quiet for you, but loud enough for me to hear without showing up on my mic as well. Well, anyway, social is another thing, another category, and technology is probably the biggest. I tend to talk about three main things, which are business, technology, and society. That's my area of focus. And I just like talking about that kind of stuff. With that in mind, let's get going. So again, all of this is just aggregated news. I take a little snippet of it and create a post, which is actually a forum discussion. And when you click on it, like I'm going to click on this, it'll take me to the subgroup, which is this right here. And then to the group. So Aerith. Aerith is a storybook world that I'm slowly working on. Don't even have much embodied right now. I keep starting and stopping. But this little bit of news came about, I think a couple of days ago now. When I first heard it, I think it was a couple of days ago. And it was that Microsoft is set to acquire Activision Blizzard for $70 billion. And it's supposed to be all cash. That was the last thing that I heard, all cash, which is a tremendous amount of money. I would be happy with, me a billion. Just throw me $1 billion. That'll be fine. I'll pay the taxes on it using that $1 billion and walk away with 500 million. Come on. You could make 71 billionaires with that money. Wouldn't that be great? 70 more people competing for profit generation off of nothing more than interest. Anyway, I'll try not to go down that road. This is actually an article that's on RPG Fan. If you are interested in it, go over to rpgfan.com, or you can go to ohmTown. If you sign up, you can vote it up, vote it down, make a comment, click the link, visit the source, and then you'll get taken there. And like always, there's a whole lot more to it on the site than on my little snippet. But the objective, I guess, for Microsoft is that they're going to get a mess of games and they're going to add it to Game Pass. So I would suspect that Game Pass is going to both go up in price and in overall value to consumers at the same time, because you're going to get more benefit for a slightly more amount of money. If it stays the same, it'll probably stay the same for a year. If it takes, 2 years for this to actually get integrated into Game Pass, then expect it to increase in price like a year afterward. That's just me and my evaluation of it. I have no insider information. I just review things and give my perspective on it. We can talk more if you have questions about it in chat, or if you shoot me an email, you can always get in contact with me via ohmTown.com. I just go by Mayor Watt there too as well. So go by Mayor Watt too as well. Whatever. Anyway, $70 billion. Quite the investment, and definitely going to be a long-term investment. I'm here on smacktalk.com. Smacktalk.com. I don't own smacktalk.com. My gosh. I feel like I'm just falling off the rails here. Anyway, on Smack Talk, this little bit was ingested a couple of hours ago. Nanoleaf is discontinuing the original light panels. And something that I did when it was announced that the HomePod, the larger version of the HomePod Mini, was ending or discontinuing, I sold it. And if I would have held on to them a little longer, they would have almost doubled in price in some places. But I sold them basically for what I purchased them for. And there's a little bit of regret there because the HomePods, their original size, were just much richer in sound than the HomePod minis. So I'm hoping that Apple returns to the larger scale and does everything that the mini does, but with bigger sound. That's my perspective. What's yours? Come on back. If you watch this VOD, later, just come on back and talk to me about it. That'd be great. They're apparently on sale for 50% off. This is an Apple Insider article. It's written by Apple Insider staff, so not just one name is involved in this. So I'm not sure where they have their full list, but credit where credit is due. If you are interested in those panels right there in the picture, be sure to go over and click the link off of Apple Insider. I'm not sure if they have, they probably have links that generate them some income. So I would love these to stay. Pardon me. But things evolve, and we shall see whatever takes their place. While supplies last, available items include the 30-piece smarter kit, multiple expansion packs, and the rhythm adapter and mounting kits. I think that would look great behind me. I actually have 4 more sound panels that are 2x2 instead of those 2x3s down there at the bottom. I'll be swapping those out so that I can get a little bit better lighting situated back there. Really don't like the way it looks when I'm not here, which isn't a narcissistic statement. There's just a wire directly behind me that you can't see until I move, and then it looks horrible. Anyway, get them while they're hot. Nanoleaf light panels being discontinued in favor of the new shapes lineup, according to Apple Insider. Go check out Apple Insider at appleinsider.com. No, I don't have any relationship with them. I aggregate news from a bunch of sites and talk about it on the show and talk about it on ohmTown. Not too much discussion going on because the site is brand new to the public. We're on day 20. Or day 19, and we should probably ramp up marketing. So go tell a friend. Come on back. If you say something in chat, I'll be able to give you a subscription too. Because for some reason I can't do it right now. It's weird. I can't just click on you and give you, I can't even give you an account right now. That's weird. I mean, I can't give you a subscription right now, and I would like to, just for being here. That would be great. I don't mind. Maybe you'll like it, and value for value. If you value this interaction and the news that I'm talking about, I'm happy to give some people a subscription, but I guess I can't do it until I'm partner. So come on, follow me, and hopefully I'll be able to build a community here on Twitch. We shall see. Okay. There was a search there because I was looking at SIA. We'll get to that here in a minute. Actually, in quite a few minutes, but we'll still get to it. So if you've never heard of this, federal regulations and insured banks, while marijuana growing is legal in some states and its consumption is legal in some states, it is federally not recognized as legal. And so growers and sellers can't um, can't deposit large sums of money in financial institutions. It says here, has helped some, right? Legalization of marijuana in California has helped some financial institutions in the state increase their assets. At the same time, many banks, feeling stifled by federal regulation, deny services to licensed growers. And that is an article from phys.org. I'll go over to the site and you can read more of it when you go there. I'm not going to read the whole thing, but there is large sums of money that's basically not being allowed to be deposited in federally insured banks, from what I was told. I'm sure that things have changed over the years since this started, but I was told that it has to be an all cash business because insurance doesn't cover it, because it's all federally insured. So it might be interesting if someone were to insure but not have federal insurance for themselves, and basically protect those assets. The problem there is that if a bank gets robbed and it's not federally insured, or there's a run on the bank, they run afoul of federal regulations regardless, because you have to have a certain liquidity in your bank. And that basically means you have to be protected, because any large amount of money is only going to be protected by federal government, unless it's, I don't know, maybe there are some banks that aren't federally protected, but it would be very, very risky. So rates for services and stuff like that might be through the roof. I'm not sure. I've never interacted with a non-federally insured institution, bank. Anyway, so yeah, they tend to have large amounts of money on hand, because it's an all cash business, as far as I was told. So it says licensed cannabis businesses need to bank their cash and take out loans to build their businesses, but many banks worry that doing business with the cannabis industry, they'll be flouting federal laws. Banks that won't accept legal cannabis cash deposits and don't provide loans aren't monetizing their deposits. Marginalized cannabis communities are missing out on capital. And that's kind of what money is supposed to do. It's supposed to stimulate money that's in the bank is used as loans to stimulate further growth of profits off of that money. And yeah, it's money's not just sitting in a bank all by itself. Although when you get to the tune of hundreds of millions and billions, the diversity of where that money goes is pretty radical. But it's definitely not all just sitting there. Even in spirit, you can have massive amounts of gold sitting in a bank vault somewhere, but it's pivoted and leveraged as loans out. It's not just sitting there untouched. And that's what a lot of the liquid reserve has to be there for. So if somebody does come and pull their entire, gold stash out of a vault, the money is still there in some way. At any rate, this will continue to evolve. This market will continue to evolve. And at some point, I think that the federal government will capitulate and just accept that marijuana is probably the least of an affront to mankind. Cigarettes have definitely done more damage than marijuana. And even marijuana, smoking was supposed to be a spiritual thing, but it was kind of pivoted to capitalism by early Europeans to the United States, and the Americans pivoted it into a business enterprise and then spread it across the world, apparently. But yeah, the whole smoking thing was supposed to get you closer to, the spirits that be. At any rate, when you smoke a cigarette, you're actually smoking tar, the stuff that's on the road. Whereas smoking marijuana is a whole lot cleaner. And some people will say arguably, but you will know that if you're smoking marijuana and it's straight grown, not manipulated, it's way more natural than literally the tar that's in cigarettes that's designed to retard how fast a cigarette burns. Anyway, I think that's enough for that. So this I just learned of, and basically what happened was this actor, Gaspard, I can't pronounce his last name. I think it's Uliel. He died in a skiing accident, and he plays the antagonist for the protagonist in Moon Knight. And so I'm not sure what's going to happen with Moon Knight. We have some pretty amazing technology that might be able to facilitate completing the project if it hasn't already been completed. I don't know yet. I didn't do my due diligence in terms of Moon Knight's completion. But my condolences to everybody around him. Yeah, it sucks for everybody involved. So, but if you hadn't heard, this is what happened: a skiing accident. So, in an interesting pivot for Instagram, Instagram is testing paid subscriptions. So. See OnlyFans, see more static versions of Twitch, where a subscription goes. If you can subscribe, I mean, it's going to be a money generator, as long as ads are pulled from the equation. So who knows ultimately what it will be, but I think it's really funny that this article says fans will pay a monthly fee to access subscriber only content, and there will be price tiers. So if 99 cents is the price tier, I can almost guarantee that they're going to charge for a full year, because processing a 99-cent payment pretty much puts you in the hole nowadays, unless you are batch billing at the end of the day. So we'll see what the ultimate pricing is, but probably the easiest way to monetize a service that was formerly free would be to create a subscription set of tiers, much like Patreon or Twitch or pretty much anything. You could do this with Twitter and create tiering strata in that as well. And really what happens is, if you can't afford to pay the subscription, then you're paying with your eyeballs, you're paying ads. And so the person that's paying will get faster access to more content, and other people will be priced out immediately. So it's not really conducive to those who do not have the cash to subscribe. Who knows? Maybe there's something else that will come later on. I can barter my bath water for somebody else's bath water. I'm not quite sure, but you never know. It's the internet. 10 creators are part of this early test, apparently. But you can click the link. That link will take you over to The Verge. I won't go through it all, like I keep saying. If you're in my chat, then you've heard it. Then I apologize for repeating it, but not everybody is going to be listening to it based off of previous VODs. But go and check it out, and then come on back to ohmTown, come on back to Twitch, and chat with me about it. So something under the continuity report group is NBC delays American Song Contest over COVID concerns. America's Got Talent Extreme is to debut next month. And I think, so this is coming from Variety. And this is a trend that I have seen in all reality shows. They get more and more extreme. And at some point, the culmination is that a person does something that's so outlandish that it almost threatens the integrity of the system. And they say, oh, I think we've hit our limit. Extreme Home Makeover, the story behind the Extreme Home Makeover had to continuously rise to the level of extreme for viewers to be concerned about, that it ultimately, and housing prices started to increase, that it ultimately kind of died on the vine. But now we've got America's Got Talent Extreme. But you can go over to Variety and read it on more about it on the site, along with American Song Contest. Basically, American Song Contest is the newer of the two, and it's going to find writers and performers across the U.S. So check it out. It'll be interesting. It's kind of like what I wanted to do or want to do with Mix War. But I obviously don't have NBC backing. So just a dude in his home office. We'll see if it comes to fruition. Hubble finds a black hole igniting star formation in a dwarf galaxy. Black holes have been described as basically the consumers of materials around them. But they also apparently have the ability to foster, like this article says, rather than suppress star formation. And if we click this link, it'll take us to phys.org. And this is a dwarf starburst galaxy. And one of the things that black holes do, they pull other things together, and it could be that it's triggering an increase in density, or it's causing more collisions. And when all of these collisions take place, they can actually form stars, because stars are basically ignited through gravitational forces. But once something gets pulled into a black hole, it's pretty much game over for it. And I like the term spaghettification. Basically, it gets stretched out from the edge of the black hole down into the core. And then whatever happens in the core. Probably some quantum leap kind of thing. And if only we could survive the spaghettification process, we might end up on the TV show Quantum Leap. I really don't know. And I don't know enough about it to say that I'm wrong, but I'm probably wrong. Procter & Gamble says the prices of Tide laundry products and personal care items are going up soon. Well, with that warning, how could I not click it? This is a Market Watch article. And who could forget the Tide Pod eating fiasco of yesteryear? And now everything is going up in price. That is what inflation is. And along with this ever looming lack of production in foreign markets, I'm really surprised. This is something that I actually called out probably a decade ago, that there were a few things that I had been speaking to people about, one of which was we could be in the United States extremely hobbled by a slowing down or stoppage of production in foreign markets because we no longer have the infrastructure in the United States to do mass production of our levels of consumption at reasonable prices. So all it takes really is for China to consume enough money to gather enough resources, invest it all, and then turn off the spigot. And it just seems to be happening around the time of coronavirus. Interesting that I'm just looking at the obvious in that we now are, for instance, I know of things that are taking 6 months, 8 months to be delivered. And that's their estimation because they cannot get the supplies, including nuts and bolts that are of proprietary dimensions, and they're produced overseas, not locally. So, yes, I am one of the people who might be waiting for a bag of bolts, and they're not produced anywhere else. At least not at a reasonable price. Sure, I can make it with my lathe downstairs in the basement, but the price would be astronomical. And I don't necessarily have the equipment to harden the bolt enough. But that's just one product. I'm talking about clothing. I'm talking about boxes. I'm talking about all kinds of things. It's taking quite a long time to get products from overseas. And at the same time, costs are going up, including food and shelter. Pretty much everything. 7%. We'll see what any financial controls will be able to put a break on that. So go over to Market Watch, and if you follow the link from Stock Marketeers, it'll take you there. But Procter & Gamble says the prices of Tide laundry products and personal care items are going up soon. Yeah, I'm sure Cheerios has already gone up, like that article was hinting at. In one chart, why 2022 appears a perfect negative storm for tech stocks, according to Deutsche Bank. Deutsche Bank has quite a reputation. Central bank policies have been, quote, a big contributor to an incredible run, end quote, for tech stocks in recent years. Well, there's the article. Yeah, that's quite interesting. So we'll see what happens. Prices for certain items have gone through the roof. Services are starting to cost more. It's taking an extraordinary amount of time to get technical or technology-based products. Trying to get a server nowadays of any magnitude, any real build out is taking 3 to 6 months, depending on the vendor. You can get smaller ones, ready-made ones, or build it out yourself. But if you're trying to get something that's custom built by a major vendor, it's going to take a while. So they might be, people are pivoting away from general consumption stuff and focusing more on the survival stuff. And tech isn't necessarily a need for survival. Although, please don't take my phone. It's right there. Okay. Anyway. Half of internet connected devices in hospitals are vulnerable to hacks. Well, yeah, that's because security has been for I don't know how long an afterthought, even though it's one of the fastest growing sectors in the United States and around the world. One of the worst offenders are institutions like law offices and police force and government agencies and hospitals and major government service institutions. And that's basically because everything is provisioned in a certain way with a hyper cost conscious mindset. And so if you don't enumerate every single thing, it does not get included in the thing. And it's very difficult to augment after the fact. So if you build something out, you had better include it in the specifications. And while that just doesn't happen with Internet of Things devices, IoT devices, and there's pretty much everything is connected to the internet via Wi-Fi in hospitals. That way information can be exchanged and obtained. And if it doesn't come with something protecting it, it's essentially not protected. So you'll end up finding devices in a multitude of hospitals that might be susceptible to attack. And I'm not suggesting everybody should go and do that, but you never really know until somebody does a penetration test on devices within a given institution. But if you go over to The Verge, you click the link on ohmTown, you will see there's been reports of devices within the institution itself, and things like pacemakers not having protection. And because of that, somebody could manipulate the treatment or change the data that's going into the system for processing. And it's because the original purpose of them, it wouldn't have needed the internet, except that once somebody discovers that the internet is all powerful, hey, might as well attach that infusion pump to the internet. That way you can update the software remotely, and it pulls human beings out of the equation to a greater degree until it gets breached, and then all hell breaks loose. So with more discussion comes processing it, fixing it. And Wemo stage with thread review, finally a reliable HomeKit button. I really like HomeKit. I like home automation systems. And Wemo has been on my radar, but I've never used anything. So click the link, take you to Apple Insider, and it says Belkin has finally finished rolling out its thread enabling update to the Wemo stage scene controller that makes this tiny remote the best option for commanding your HomeKit home. I use a bunch of HomeKit powered devices. Nothing is Wemo. So I'll have to take a look at it. But I am always on the lookout for a platform that ties everything together. Unfortunately, most services want to, what I call, pee on their own bush, and lay claim to that area, right? Whatever it is. Like my thermostats are not HomeKit enabled because it's a Nest, and so it's controlled it's on Google's side and it doesn't cross over easily. I can create middleware that allows me to control it using if this then that, but that's largely a pain in the butt and requires some babysitting all the time. But if I could get a device that talks to everything reliably, that would be great. I don't think this is it. But if you use it, talk to me in chat, come back tomorrow and find out and tell me what you have found out or what you use it for, and we can chat. That would be great. And that's the Wemo stage. Here's a big one. Researchers find newer variants of COVID can infect mice, unlike the original version of the virus. And one of the worst things about viruses is that they evolve a whole lot faster than humans. There's a whole lot more genetic wobble, and each iteration can either survive longer or die out. And it truly is survival of the fittest when it comes to or viruses. And a team of biology researchers at Georgia State University found that some of the newer variants of the virus that causes COVID-19 can infect the respiratory tract of wild mice. And this is probably dramatically worse news than just a new variant, mainly because if it's going into a species that could possibly enable it to mutate again in a unique way, and then those mice have the ability to be carriers for it, it could spread. And lo and behold, if fleas and ticks drink the blood of an infected mouse or rat, you end up basically with the plague again. And let's not do that. We're recovering slowly from COVID-19, but viruses don't really care about our stats and our benefit. They just exist. And maybe one day, in my time travel show, I'll discover true time travel and go find out that viruses have been sentient all along and seeking our destruction because of the vaccines. Might be a short story. If you find this VOD, write me a short story and come on back. I'll read it on the air and we can talk about it live. That would be great. The virus is now able to infect animal species much easier than it used to be. A lot of people respond to this kind of research as, why are you doing this? And it's really comes down to the fact that we need to understand it so that we can stop it. While others are, we need to understand it so that we can weaponize it. Not that somebody's weaponized COVID-19. It's a horribly beautiful virus. When you look at it, its symmetry is amazing, and its spherical shape with these little protrusions, and it's so symmetrical that you kind of have to appreciate it for what it is. If it's naturally occurring, it's just an amazing thing. But there's a lot of naturally occurring viruses in the world. So it also says researchers and veterinarians have found strains of the virus in white-tailed deer in several states, gorillas, big cats, hippos, and other animals in zoos, mink raised in farms in Europe, and a small number of pet cats and dogs. For a moment, there were cats that were being infected. I don't recall dogs so much, but the whole fact that it can spread via animals. And then the animals are couriers. They're carriers of it, not being killed by it. We, as humans, are more susceptible to that negative process of our lungs being destroyed by COVID-19. And then there's this little segment here. In Hong Kong, officials plan to euthanize more than 2,000 hamsters after finding nearly a dozen in a pet shop infected with the Delta variant. That is pretty wild that there are 2,000 hamsters. Apparently, well, they know of 2,000 hamsters. I wouldn't know where to find 2,000 hamsters if my life depended on it. So the thing that I was talking about earlier about Sia, if you've never heard of Sia, she is a writer of music and the lyrics and the music, and she's a performer, and she's known for music like Chandelier. And she created, along with a couple other people, a film called Music. And apparently it didn't get quite a great review. And so she revealed in a New York Times article. So this is from Variety. I'm going to click the link. That she was suicidal and went to rehab after the backlash to this film Music, which, if you haven't seen it, I haven't seen it all. I've seen little bits of it. It is essentially about a nonverbal autistic teenage girl. And Maddie Ziegler is in it. She was in Chandelier. And Kathy Griffin is involved in this. So it says, as part of a profile on comedian Kathy Griffin, that she entered rehab following the extreme outrage over her feature directorial debut, Music. Sia sparked backlash over her decision to cast neurotypical actress and dancer Maddie Ziegler in the role of Music Gamble, a nonverbal autistic teenage girl. I think that it's astonishing that it shouldn't happen that somebody end up having to go to rehab because of backlash. But I have seen some pretty amazing responses to things. And it really comes from a perspective of having some personal connection to whatever the issue is. And while I understand that passion, I think that it needs to be responded to in a certain way and not violently and angrily. And there's certain things that sure you should be really upset about. But I'm sure if I dig deeper into this, I will find out more about it. But I thought that it was an interesting article that everybody should go and read on Variety.com. That Sia reveals I was suicidal and went to rehab after backlash to controversial music film. And Music is the name of it. So if you are interested in this kind of thing, definitely go and listen, go and read it and then watch the movie. I'm going to end up watching the movie. And Sia is a fantastic singer. For some, maybe not you, but her music is quite powerful. Her voice is quite powerful. And I'm curious more about the movie now. I hadn't even heard of it until I saw this article. So Sia originally defended Ziegler's casting ahead of the film, telling Australia 10's News First that she actually tried working with a beautiful young girl nonverbal on the spectrum, but found it unpleasant and stressful. And I think that's probably where the rub is, in that that she didn't use someone who's actually in that spectrum in that mode, right? So nonverbal autistic. But it might have been an untenable position for Sia. And, people have their limits. So I guess perhaps the only other option for Sia would have been to bow out entirely and have somebody else produce this movie. But we all grow with as our experience in the world continues. We all grow and evolve and hopefully become better people. So let's see what this shakes out as. She tweeted, "I'm sorry." Kate Hudson is in this, as well as a few others, but I don't know. What do you think? If you have any comments, then throw them in chat or send me a message somewhere, somehow. Preferably on ohmTown or in Twitch. I'm on Twitter and I'm on YouTube, but I don't have any content there yet. It's just a holding place for now. But I'd be happy to talk with anybody about it. Come on back tomorrow and let me know what you think. Sound good? I think that I'm going to call it quits today. A little bit early. I'm actually at an hour, but I would normally have run a little bit long. I didn't get a chance to get very many links, but I'll end with this, that you can go to ohmTown and there will always be new news each day, aggregated into those 6 categories. And it works for me, and I hope that you get something out of it. You can always come into the chat on Twitch and talk to me about it and let me know if there's any changes or something that you'd like to see. And if you want to host or co-host, let me know. I'm open to discussions regarding this because I'd really like to grow ohmTown. I just haven't advertised it yet, so other than on Twitch. So thanks for coming by. Really appreciate it. I will see you tomorrow at 6 o'clock. 6 o'clock Eastern, by the way. Thanks for coming. Bye-bye.